We recently reviewed a Honda Brio, and while we enjoyed it, Jack and I had a bit of a problem with its price tag. We have yet another Honda with us here today, the HR-V RS Turbo, and wouldn't you know it, its sticker is, well, it kind of caught us off guard yet again. But in this particular instance, although a bit pricey, it might actually be worth every single centavo you shell out. Stick around and find out why. Woo-hoo-hoo! When it rains, it pours, and boy do I mean it. Torrential rains wreaking havoc on your roof with a side of inescapable upcoming tuition fees. Man, adulting never hurt so bad. Ugh. But take a tip from the Beatles and get by with a little help from your friends, because here comes the sun. I can't help it, it was on Spotify this morning. If you own your own car, you can refinance it and keep it with Sangla ORCR from Asialink. Depending on the age of your vehicle, you can get 70 to 75% of the fair market value. So for example, if your fair market value is 1 million Philippine pesos, then you could get a loan of up to 750,000 Philippine pesos. Asialink offers a 12 to 36-month loan duration, which could only see an interest rate of 1.25 to 1.5%, which is way better than many personal bank loans. A few quick requirements like your ORCR, a pair of government IDs like a driver's license and a passport, UMID or the like, proof of billing like a phone, electricity or internet bill, your TIN, and proof of income, and you're all set. Make your monthly Asialink payments conveniently via a number of payment channels such as GCash, Maya, bank transfer, and many, many more. Over the past 26 years, the Philippines has seen Asialink provide loans to thousands of Filipinos with over 100 branches nationwide. Kasama mo ang Asialink. At just 14 feet long and barely 6 feet wide, it can fit inside the painted area of a basketball court. Now, it's not very large, but it does have a whopper of a price tag. If you head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph, you'll see that this RS Turbo variant comes in at 1,739,000 Philippine pesos. Youch! The base model price sounds about just right for a subcompact crossover from Japan. But for another 350,000 Philippine pesos, you're not just getting a body kit and leather seats. You're getting, quite possibly, the best Japanese subcompact crossover available in the Philippines today. Comparable with, and sometimes possibly even better than, the Mazda CX-3 and the Nissan Kicks. Here, try this. After the review, head on over to the description below where I've personally put the link to our Comparo page with these specific cars. Check it out, and then after that, head on over to the comment section and let me know what you think. Up front, the HR-V has a solid wing face design with a very large and textured grille that at times you can't keep your hands off. The LED dual projector headlamps are very slim, as are the signature DRLs, which makes the HR-V look like a very, very angry bird. But with better brows though, thank goodness. Fog lamps are found as close to the ground as possible, and the black trim on the front chin continues around the wheel wells, which hold 1-inch bigger 18s wrapped in 50 series tires and disc brakes behind them, all above 181 millimeters of ground clearance. When you get on over to the cargo hold, you'll note that it is quite a large opening for such a small car. And again, for such a small car, this over 300 liters of space is like an Olympic-sized swimming pool. More so if you were to fold the second row, because then you're looking at over 1,200 liters of space. However, with the second row up, you cannot fit a balikbayan box by itself here, nor taller items, because it will hit the sloping roof. And also, this might be a point of contention for some, but if you were to remove the tonneau to load taller items, sure you can, but see these things here that hold the tonneau? They're kind of screwed on. Not kind of, but they are screwed on. And when you close and open them, yeah, they're still there. So, not so great. If, however, cargo space is a main factor of yours when choosing a subcompact crossover that are all turbos, by the way, guess what? We've got a video just for you where we pit the HRV up against 3 other automobiles. The links are in the description down below. We even have a section just talking about the cargo space. It's actually pretty cool. Cool, okay. Some cool things on the exterior of this automobile are, number 1 is that the lights at the rear are white out. It looks kind of ghosty. I like it. Looks very good, and when they light up, they're actually very nice. Cool too are the exhausts found down below. Real exhausts, there's 2 of them, 1 and 2. Cool also are how the doors come all the way down. You know what, it may not be a big thing, but to me it is, because it makes cleaning the exterior a heck of a lot easier, and it keeps the interior cleaner for a lot longer. And then a tiny pulse right here, which is indicative of how the car will make you feel. However, not everything is all sunshines and rainbows. Twin exhausts are great, but in this case, they kind of stick out and kind of hang for like no good reason. Like there's a bit too much space between the exhaust and the bumper itself. And that basically can diminish your departure angle. Also too, is the part of the exhaust that sticks out, which is unique to the turbo variant. You'll notice that the naturally aspirated one has higher ground clearance. Because of this, you only get 181. And lastly, what isn't so cool is this CRT looking infotainment system right here. Not so pretty, not so integrated. If you don't know what CRT is, I don't know what to tell you. But the rest of the cabin is great because it's leather, leather, and more leather. It's like Gino's closet.
Ew.
Because he rides motorcycles, Jack. He's got lots of leather jackets. What were you thinking, BDSM? Get your head out of the gutter, man.
Oh God.
So, the rest of the automobile is fantastic. You've got your instrument cluster, obviously, directly in front of you, with an analog and digital gauge, and it's well lit. I like that. The steering wheel, again, Honda. I've always loved their steering wheels. They feel great to the touch. Whether it's cold or hot, it's just right. The size is great. It's leather too. Your buttons on the steering wheel, your controls for your air, very tactile, just like the buttons on the steering wheel. You have a decent amount of cubby holes and spaces here inside for the driver. Can fit my somewhat large bottle there, and on the doors as well. There is, I gotta say, a lot of piano blacks inside this automobile. So you've got them around the shifter, you've got them on the steering wheel as well, and then you've also got them on the door. So do expect a lot of fingerprints inside this automobile. Now, the infotainment has been updated with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is great. However, if I may show you and turn on the air because it's a bit warm, there are some downsides to it. Like number 1, when you start the engine and you get going, the first thing that comes on is a warning, which you have to get through to be able to get to the infotainment itself. And then when you do get to the infotainment, it's not the clearest of things, and it's not the smoothest of things. It can be a bit clunky. And then when you put it in reverse, although there is a camera, it's not also the brightest or the clearest. The nice thing about it is that it does have certain angles that you can change. So that's actually pretty cool. Behind my normal driving position, I don't have any issues. Legroom is definitely not an issue because I'm short. Haha, shut up, Jack. The headroom, however, that might be a bit of a problem. I'm not very tall, but yet it's very limited. Now, Jack sitting here behind my driving position, again, his legroom isn't an issue because he can even slouch if he wanted to. It's the headroom that's a problem for him. Although I will say that the elbow room inside this car, meaning the girth of this automobile, still it's just less than 6 feet wide, as I mentioned, is actually very, very comfortable. And plus, since there's no tunnel in the center, I can actually stand up and turn. Look at this. That's how small I really am. Small. Amenities back here include 2 air vents, which are very important in a car that's all leather, by the way. And then not 1, but 2 USB charging points. So you've got the best of both worlds in that sense, air and power. Then you've got a center armrest with 2 cup holders, which is great. And then, of course, Isofix anchor points on both sides. Now, I would also like to share that there are bottle holders on the door, just below this particular small speaker and above the other speaker. Great sounds, by the way. But it's quite small, really. So I'm guessing normal-sized bottles would definitely fit. Just the larger ones, no. But again, that's what the center armrest is there for. It fits. Now, you've heard me kind of harp about how some things are not so great inside this automobile paired with some things that are. But it doesn't really sound very convincing considering the price is over 1.7 million Philippine pesos. But I will tell you that the car does make up for it in spades in how it drives. And that I'd like to get to right now. But before we do consider subscribing to our channel because we need your help to be able to create as many videos just for you guys. Up front is a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder gasoline engine mated to a CVT that produces 175 horses and 240 newton meters of torque. Now, inside the city, you can get about 9 kilometers per liter on a Sunday, but realistically on a weekday, you're probably looking at about 8 kilometers per liter. Now, on the highway, much better legs. If, of course, you don't drive it like you're trying to escape from the devil himself, you can push it to 19 kilometers per liter. Now, I've heard many a times people say that this is essentially the same engine as you will get inside a Civic Turbo. And you're absolutely right. You're correct. However, don't expect this to act anything less than a Turbo Civic because it's a crossover and you think it's heavier. Point in fact, it's actually the same weight. Because of how the transmission is tuned, it's actually a bit tamer in the way that it delivers power. It doesn't drop everything that it's doing and then it rushes for the exit. No, this case, it actually forms a line and exits calmly, properly out the door. Mind you though, that it still has a heck of a lot of power when you need it. In fact, there is a sport mode inside the HR-V right beside the Eco and Normal. But to be completely honest with you, not once have I ever felt the need that I needed to switch it into power mode, or rather sport mode, simply because, well, everything that you need is at your foot tip. Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! I found that the NVH of the HR-V is actually pretty darn good. Unwanted noise don't necessarily come in, and those that do, and it's not road noise or wind noise, mind you, is dissipated and absorbed very well by the cabin. And it's actually also quite comfortable. The suspension is very good in the sense that it's soft enough so that it doesn't overly tire you, but it's also firm enough just as a crossover should be. The steering too is on point. It's light when you need it inside the city at lower speeds, and then when it's higher speeds on the highway, it gets weighted. And then it communicates very well to the driver what's happening underneath and somehow still filtering all the stuff that you don't want it to communicate to you. It's really a very joyous car to drive, especially for those that do really enjoy driving, whether you're stuck inside the city or you're on the highway. It's a joy to drive, yes. However, it's not exactly a complete joy to your wallet because of the price that we mentioned. However, there actually just might be a hack for that. Do people still use that term? If you consult our pages on AutoDeal.com.ph, you'll note that you can pick up a Honda HR-V Turbo with Honda Sensing, mind you, for 100,000 Philippine pesos less than this RS variant. Now, I realized at the beginning I said that you could get one for under 1.4 million Philippine pesos, but to be completely and totally honest with you, I have driven the non-turbo variant and it is nowhere near as fun. So for my money, I definitely say get the turbo if you have the means. Now, as to the RS variant or not, that I'll leave to you guys. This episode of Behind the Wheel was shot on location at Ortigas Estates, Circulo Verde. For more information, visit the links in the description below.